So thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here and to share my experience as a Marie Curie Fellow, and also especially my experience as the applicant and writing of the application. So I work at the University of Leeds, the School of Geography, and my project is about short-term rentals and housing financialization. My case studies are Barcelona and Lisbon. Just a bit of background on why I decided to apply. So basically, I did my PhD in the University of Cardiff, and during my viva of my PhD, there was a senior academic from the School of Geography at the University of Leeds who talked. So after the viva, we talked and we decided that applying for the Marie Curie was a good option, because after my PhD I was working at the University of Lisbon, and so I could move back again to the UK basically. And just to say this, because I'm gonna share a few tips after my experience. And the first one is that to find a supervisor who really wants to work with you is very important one. And for me, it was the most important thing. So basically, it's not that I wrote a project and then I found a supervisor. Is that we did the project together. He invited me to apply, and all the process of the writing process, implementation, etc., where we did it together. And that was very important for me, also because he was a previous recipient of Marie Curie Fellow like 10-15 years ago. And I will explain later why this is also very important. But the second tip is that you really need time to do this. So basically, after finding a supervisor who really wants to work with you, I start writing my first ideas 6 months before the deadline. And in total, it took me like 7 weeks of full-time job during these 6 months. So I think in total, I worked 7 or maybe 8 weeks of full-time job. The point is that you need to read a lot of documents. You need to write very slowly, do a lot of versions, ask for feedback many times, and this takes time. The application is this scheme is very competitive, and the application must be perfect, basically. And every paragraph counts. And to do that, you basically need time. You can't work like a couple of weeks and apply. I think this won't work. And then a third tip is like ask for feedback to as many people as you can, not just your supervisor, but also colleagues. The EU team in Research and Innovation Service also helped me a lot. And also be prepared to assume all the comments, all the feedback. So I think that 7 versions of my project before the submission. So I'm not talking about the first idea. So once I have a full application, so basically the 10 pages, I did 7 or 8 versions of that. So this is why you need time. You need to ask for feedback. You need to do a lot of changes, because the project basically must be perfect. And another question that very helped me was to read successful proposals. And I read, I think that 6 or 7 ones, and to read how other people structure the ideas, the proposal on each section. It was key to structure my own ideas and my own applications. Even if these successful proposals were from other areas, it helped me a lot in any way. It's very important. And I think this is a very key point that helped me. Then the fifth thing is that to be clear and concise about the research questions. And a non-expert must be able to understand and see why this is relevant. And this is very important because, as Sophia said, and maybe the panel won't know much about your field. And so the language and the research question has to be very, very clear and also relevant for society. In my case, was just to examine how Airbnb were restructuring the real estate investment. It's something very simple, one short sentence and easy to understand. Then the sixth point in relation with this is how I structure the state of the art and the research questions. So basically, the state of the art, I wrote 3 paragraphs, and each paragraph ended up with a gap that I wanted to fill in. And then after these 3 paragraphs, so I synthesized it in a table, and I included this table in the application. So something very important is to guide the evaluator, to guide the reader. And this is something that I want to emphasize in the next slide. So basically simplify, guide the evaluator. So the common thread must be clear, must be unique, must be only one thing. So don't use too many concepts. Don't try to put together different literatures in one piece. Maybe 2, but no more than 2. So basically simplify, guide the evaluator so that a non-expert can understand everything is very important. And also in the implementation, so describe step by step what you will do and include a table about this. Sophia was saying that it's important to be innovative in the methods, and yes, I agree. But in my case, for example, I didn't use innovative methods. I did traditional methods in qualitative research, that is interviews and participant observation, basically. But I describe very well, step by step, from the month 1 to month 24, what I was gonna do. And this is very important for the evaluator to understand why you will do everything. And then another point that was also mentioned by Sophia is that each part of the application is equally important. And people usually work a lot in the state-of-the-art research objectives. And the first part of the application, which is the excellent one. And yes, it's crucial, that one, also because it counts more than the other 2. But I think it's a mistake to only emphasize the first one. And the 3 of them are very, very important. And I say this because also because I forgot to say that I first applied in 2018. And I didn't get the fellowship. So I scored, I think, 90 in the first year in this call, 2018. And so I was in the reserve list, but then they didn't call me. So I reapplied in 2019. And then I got the fellowship in the second try. But the point is that these 3 weaknesses from my first application, this is just, I copy and paste here the evaluator comments. And basically, they are not about my research objective, state of the art, or my knowledge about the topic. So if you see, it's about implementation, so the samples of my interviews, gender, and the impact of our policy report that I mentioned that I wanted to do. So in the second application in 2019, I think I spent a couple of weeks and I resubmit, because also the institution was the same, was University of Leeds, and the supervisor was the same. And I focus on these 3 aspects. And then, of course, I updated the literature review and updated everything, but basically I really focus on these three aspects. And then I got the fellowship in the second try. I think the score was 94. And then, and I think that this is my last point, the career development and training. And this is also why it's very important to work closely with your supervisor, because I think I saw some or many applications that the training is attending training actions and courses, and yes, you may attend some courses, but I think that the opportunity of this scheme is to work with and learn from your mentor, your supervisor, and senior academics in the school and in the university. And so basically, with the supervisor should explain you what is going on in the university, which opportunities you can use in the infrastructure, facilities, other colleagues, etc. And an example of training and development that you can use, for example, I said joint papers with senior staff, attending supervision meetings, so to learn about my supervisor, also presentation at seminars in the school, research group in the school. So you may some teaching. Also, my supervisor will give me feedback for future applications. So because I said that in my career development, after this fellowship, I will apply for future fellowship and I will get feedback. So basically, and I go back to the beginning. So working closely with your supervisor is key. For me, was the most important thing. And because we develop everything together, the research questions, how to structure the project, what we want to do, how to implement the project, and also the information he gave me about the schools, the opportunities, and other projects going on, research groups, etc., etc. And I think that these are my 9 tips. So thank you, and I'm happy to answer questions that you may have. Thank you.